Something came from Baltimore, Baltimore, Baltimore. Something came from Baltimore, Baltimore, Baltimore.
Welcome to Something Came from Baltimore. Something Came from Baltimore is a jazz, blues, and R&B podcast and radio show, and it's not really about Baltimore. My name is Tom Gauker, and I'll be your host tonight. September 12th, 2020 was the last time that I was able to interview saxophonist and composer Immanuel Wilkins for his debut recording, Omega. It was getting great press and buzz for this recording. In fact, Immanuel Wilkins' Omega was voted as the best album of 2020 as per the New York Times. Anticipation for this second recording is at a fever pitch right now. The year-and-a-half gap from the first record gave the listeners time to really digest Omega, and now they're hungry for more. Well, we are ready to eat because Immanuel Wilkins' second album is titled The Seventh Hand. It's still on the Blue Note Records, and the release date is January 28, 2022. The Seventh Hand is a thought-provoking double album from the album cover all the way to the music. It's religious and spiritual in overtones, and it also has musical elements that get a little complicated. And Immanuel Wilkins is here to explain in our Zoom interview. Before we get to that interview, don't forget to forward this episode to 5 people who love music just like you do. And let's get the word out. All right, Immanuel Wilkins, welcome to Something Came from Baltimore.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I can't say we had a blast last time, but I really enjoyed your conversation. And I wanted to follow up because when we started out, you were just like, okay, I'm sitting in my home. I guess I should do some interviews. I got this album. I got a little buzz going on. And all of a sudden, you win the #1 New York Times album for Omega in 2020. So you're a man with stories. So I was like, I need to reach back to him and find out how's he taking this. How was that?
Yeah, man. That was it was a good time. It was also a blessing to have that happen during the pandemic when virtually nothing was going on for artists in that time. So it was nice to have a little bit of love for the album that I produced before the pandemic. Yeah, man, it was nothing that I really expected. I didn't expect for it to happen or for it to be received that way. But it was a delightful, a delightful thing.
Hell yeah! I mean, it took you from a guy who you're somewhat of an introvert, and now bang, you're like on fire and with people with demands.
Trying, yeah.
Another person that you have as a mentor is Jason Moran. I think his album this year is in the top 5 for New York Times.
Yep, absolutely. His is yeah. I think his #1. Yeah, I think his #1.
Have you worked with him or any kind of?
Yeah, man. Not he didn't directly help out on this record, but man, he always has been a big help to me. We have a pretty good relationship. I talk to him often, and I just got commissioned by the Jazz Gallery in New York to write some music. I wrote some pieces for a duet between me and him. So we just did that concert maybe a couple months ago. I think that was in October. And so yeah, it's always a pleasure to share the bandstand with him, share thoughts with him. That's one of my biggest influences. And he's a great guy.
When you told me he was your mentor, I was like, oh my God, he's awesome. The reason I kind of hopped on you early is because, like, you're in Blue Notes, don't need to have a marketing unit to churn your record. People are coming to you left and right. So I thought, I'm going to get a head start. And the only reason I said I'm getting a head start because Orrin Evans said the same thing. He goes, he's real slow at responding to emails. So
that's right. Yeah, I know. I'm tough with the emails. I have about like 200 backed up right now that I need to respond to.
It was weird because I was like, yeah, I know that too. There's so many expectations on people on how to act. It's just hard to be yourself. And you're still a young guy, and it seems like there's more expectations than laid on you. And I don't know, do you feel stressed out, like, to be a performer at this point?
No, it does not. It doesn't really stress me out anymore, just because I think I've been kind of intentional, especially in these past, like, maybe couple years. I've been kind of intentional to make sure I'm, like, taking work that I really feel good about and work that I'm 100% invested in and care about a lot. And so it takes a lot of the pressure off because I don't feel the pressure. I don't feel exhausted just because it's all stuff I really want to do. And I mean, it can be a lot at times, and a lot of the time, that's why I'm thankful to my manager Mariah. It's like a lot of the times it's really the emails, the talking about the thing that it gets exhausting, but the thing itself feeds me. That's what I live for. So I'm definitely not overworked yet. And I hope not to ever be overworked. I hope I just really care about all the projects that I'm doing, and really like I want to do those things,
Like Omega came out, but you were way in advance. You were like almost have a wealth of material like that you had sit on. And now this album seems like it's that stuff still sit, and you came up with something brand new, like a whole brand. Like this is very complex.
yeah. This music is definitely way more involved, a lot more going on. Yeah, this music I guess the band has been playing it for maybe about 3 or 4 years at this point. This new repertoire, and kind of this record in a lot of ways is a testament to kind of this. I think we're kind of breaking through into a new way of conversing on the bandstand that's exciting and interesting to me, where we're dealing with like traditional rhythms of jazz music. The swing rhythm is way more prevalent in this record than the first record, as well as some African rhythms. And I think rhythmically we're getting to a more sophisticated level than on the first one. I feel like we're starting to break through the surface of this new kind of way of communicating that feels rooted and it feels good to me,
Well, so then this has been material that you've worked on. It's just that you've collected it in a really interesting way.
Let's listen to the 5th track of the album, The Seventh Hand. It's called Witness.
Your bio is rocking, man. It's like I was like,
no.
I'm not a super church guy, but I was like, okay, so there's 6 hands, and I kept on putting Bible, 6 hands.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't exist, or if it does, it's not connected to what you're saying.
No, I know.
But you had me working. Why couldn't you just do like a Rodgers and Hammerstein, like?
Yeah, man, Sanders record. Yeah, exactly.
So I am recording, and I did say before, I've only heard your lead-off single. This is a Adele situation. We just didn't get a copy of the album.
No.
The album's called The Seventh Hand. Comes out January 29th on the Blue Note record. It is stunning on the album cover. I know the album cover means stuff. I saw that the way the album is opened up, and it's a double album. It looks really, really cool. Okay, so you're being baptized, and it doesn't look like you're in the South. It looks like it's just like a local pond. However, there's multiple women in modern clothes, not really ready to be accepted into a baptism. So I was curious, like, why are you the only man? But then I'm also wondering, in the stages of clothing are there at behind you? I find it interesting.
Yeah, thanks, and I appreciate you noticing those things. I think a lot of, and this is kind of how I've been talking about it, is a kind of a remix on it. I was trying to remix the bathroom, and the reference was a lot of those like Southern baptism photos, from like maybe the 60s, 50s. I thought it would be interesting to give a little bit of a maybe push and pull, or a little bit of tension in the way that everyone was dressed. In one way, I wanted to really depict, or maybe make people question what it means to be holy. What are the requirements to holiness?
Uh-huh.
And I thought that you rarely see women doing the baptizing. Usually it's a man in that powerful position. And so I thought in one way it would be interesting to put the women in the position of power, and me actually being the one being baptized in the in the submissive realm, I guess. And then also in the way they're dressed, I wanted it to feel almost wayward in a way. One of the women in the photo, has a lace front, like a weave, and long fingernails, and a
Yeah.
hoodie, and hoop earrings.
He's like
And
ready to party.
yeah, you know what I mean. And I think that a lot of the times people can look at the tonality of an image, or what holiness looked like, or what wayward looked like, what being wayward even looks like. In a way, I feel like the visuality that maybe the creator has on us is one of nakedness, is one of like, not, it doesn't matter what you have, it doesn't matter what clothes are being worn. There's no real it's only about the heart, I guess, so yeah, I kind of wanted to just put a little tension in the visual tonality of how it looked,
Sure. And every single person there is equally deserving of a baptism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, what I was thinking of really was like the symbol of the number 6 is being the extent of like human possibility, and then the number 7 is being some sort of symbol of like divine intervention. And the piece is loosely based around vesselhood, and like how to get the band to become vessels by the end of the piece, where it's only flowing kind of through us, and we're not actually consciously at front of mind creating things or thinking about what we're playing. So yeah, there's different devices that I kind of employ to get to the 7 movement that really deals with no written material and is all freely improvised.
Sure. It's a 26-minute jam. So
Yep. Yeah.
And here is the epic final song. Let's listen to a sample called Lift.
I always thought, like, in the heyday, like, you guys have been together for a while now. When you look at these great jazz albums, you're like, oh, Miles' team has been together for 4 to 5 years. Like, you're past that point of thinking about stuff. Like, I think that you play together so much and you know each other so well that maybe that's not a big leap that you guys can, just work one space and thought process.
No, we've been together for a healthy amount of time now. So and central to even that vulnerability that it takes to submit to the music in that way, So yeah, it's it's good to be playing with my brothers and sisters in the music.
I think what you're trying to do, if you like sat down, Billy Porter, you never worked with him before, and you're conceptually saying all this stuff, and then I want you to get to it in a week because we're going to record this. It's kind of like, okay, does he get it or doesn't he get it?
Absolutely.
And will this like come out the way I envisioned? But at the same time, there is no envisionment. Your last piece is a free for all. So conceptually there is no concept, and that's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny because like I think also it has to do with like the band was actually hanging out with me while I was writing the piece. Like they would hear it in progress, and I kind of shared with them the vision of the piece and the vision of the 7 movement, like all throughout the time I was writing it. So by the time they started playing it, they had a really good idea, and we all were kind of on the same wavelength of what it should feel like, what it should sound like,
In the album's biography, Immanuel writes, I was fascinated with the idea that there are no white people in black churches.
There's some eyeball things. We're almost gonna wind down here, but you're right. There's a lot of white people that don't go to black churches, and it's not because I don't want to. I think that it's too long. It's way too long.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, like if they're giving it, like I started out Catholic and they wrap that thing up in 45 minutes.
Absolutely,
I'm a Quaker now, and they wrap that in an hour. I roll out in jeans and maybe this T-shirt, and I feel good. I didn't do anything. You got to dress up, and then you got to sit there for hours, and that's the only reason.
I feel it's too long, man. It's too long.
Yeah, like I haven't been trained that long, and that right there to be able to sit there, like that's where your mind wanders, and you're like, is this a good investment of time? Like, is this really what I should be doing with my time?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know. You've been quoted by Warren Wolf. I think I saw it. He's in my thread.
Oh,
And
wow.
he said that why do they always bring Thai to a Thai food to
Oh yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically that's an observation that you're making now, that everyone brings Thai in to
Every
assess them.
time. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. Every time it happens, literally, man. Even the session for this recording, there was Thai food ordered.
I mean, like, why Thai? Why?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I think it's now become like, I think it's actually like become like a subconscious trigger whenever it's gonna order food, like a sideman on a session that's ordered Thai. I think now, like, they're just like, oh yeah, maybe Thai. I
Yeah.
think that's like
Isn't it?
I don't know.
That hot sauce blows up your nose, clears out your nostrils. Like, it's hot, so like your whole nose is
Maybe.
totally open.
Yeah.
You're sweating, so you're more of a, you're not energized. It's not like you do regular Chinese and you feel like you want to take a nap. Maybe that's what it is.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Yeah, that could be it. That could be it, man.
That's funny. We're not going to break down how this album works, but I do believe that people should, take a listen first and then read the bio as to what you're trying to do, because, you just want that visceral, like, thought process. This is 12/30, so this is the end of the year. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Is that anything you're doing?
Oh man, hold on. Let me I not really New Year's resolutions, but I definitely have some goals for 2022. And I'll read them off to you. I have
Oh,
them
you
right
haven't
here.
written down. All right, we'll take it.
Eating clean, increased vitamin intake, more herbs, exercise, more practicing, more reading, and then I just have some work: clarity, time, centering yourself, working hard, focus on the moment, less time on the phone, more presence in real life.
Wow. All right, so we just talked about the first single that's out. I looked it up, The Word,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful song. It's the first one, so it starts the whole set.
Yep.
Emanation.
Yep.
I looked it up. It's an abstract but perceptible thing that issues or originates from a source. That's what starts it.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about so yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about vesselhood. I'm thinking about what it means to like catch the Holy Spirit in the church. Like what the Holy Spirit means. And there's a verse in the Bible where they say, "When two or three are gathered together, there am I in the midst." And I thought it was really interesting that gathering as a mode of like some sort of just special things happen when people gather. And that being kind of central to vesselhood, or there's also this kind of in my head, this like dual directionism happening where when you think of vesselhood, it's something that kind of falls down on you or goes through you, right, from the top down. But then emanation is kind of from the bottom up. You know what I mean? Like emanation is like something that emanates out, yet like maybe catching the Holy Spirit or vesselhood deals with something coming down, So I thought that it's kind of capturing the same truth or the same core idea, but it's coming from different directions. I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah, and that's discussed in the liner notes. So you're basically saying like a communion or a collection of people will end up, sharing a cosmic vibe amongst each other, and then they will also, feel that they're creating a language without actually speaking. And with that comes the power.
Absolutely.
And that power reaches out. And that's your upward motion.
Yeah,
it's pretty high. Like, it's pretty cool.
Totally.
It's better than the Rodgers and Hart sound we're going to do. Well, Immanuel Wilkins, thank you for getting back on the phone and talking to me on Something Came from Baltimore.
Thank you, man. You too, man.
I hope you enjoyed the interview today with Immanuel Wilkins. The album is called The Seventh Hand on Blue Note Records. Remember to subscribe, share, and enjoy, and the show is over. Have a beautiful day.